Welcome to Team Tiggio Court TV, where we upload videos every single day. So make sure you subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and share our videos.
15th, you understand that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Dean?
Your Honor, at this time, Mr. Henley is going to plead guilty to the probation violations, Your Honor.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your plea to the violations?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your plea?
Oh, guilty. I'm sorry. I did not hear.
All right, I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. So what's the problem? What's the cocaine all about?
I broke my leg a little while earlier, and I wasn't able to get out of the house. Wasn't going to my meetings. I'd been sober for almost 5 years, Your Honor, and was doing great. And person sort of came back into my life, came over to see me.
Who?
And, his name's Eric. He lives in Eastlake. He's a real piece of garbage. I'll tell you right where he lives if you want.
What's his name?
I don't know his last name, but I could get it for you if you'd like. And he gave me that. He started, and then I told him to leave me alone because I did,
How did he, wait a minute. He came over to your house?
He came over to my house because he had owed me some money. He was doing the detail shop next to me, and when I broke my leg, he had owed me his money for a long time. And I asked him, hey man, I could use it right now because I broke my leg, and he showed up at my house, and I didn't know that this is
Why did you loan him money?
Excuse me?
Why did you loan him money?
I didn't loan him money. He had owned the detail shop next to me. He had wrecked a car that I took over there to have them detail, and I ended up paying for it out of my pocket. And he was supposed to repay me in restitution, but never did.
He owns a detail place?
He doesn't anymore.
No, at the time.
At the time, yes. He owned Action Detail in Eastlake.
So you brought your car there to get detailed?
I brought a customer's car there. I had brought lots of customer cars there because it was real close to my body shop that I owned for 26 years.
Okay. And he damaged your car?
He damaged the customer's car.
How long ago was that?
Almost 4 or 5 years ago.
And then, so back in last month, you called him to get the money he owes you for the last 4 or 5
Well, he'd been ducking
years?
me forever for it, and I was just at home, like I said. I couldn't get out of my room. I was thinking about who owed me some money, and I called him. He stopped over, and he was like, I don't have the detail shop anymore, and he was like, he just came over and he offered it to me, and I don't know why I did it. I guess I was sitting in my room for 3 months, and he's like, but I'll get you the money. He was, I don't know, I was just really not in the greatest place at that time. And then he sort of ducked me for a while. I got it, and that was the other time that Nicole tested it, and I just did like a couple lines of it, and that was it. And you couldn't even ask her. I had gone out to eat one time, and I had ordered a non-alcoholic margarita, and they gave me the wrong one. I went right to probation the next morning and was honest with her, told her about it.
Who?
Nicole, or Kaylee, I'm sorry, my probation officer. I told her about it, told her what happened. I didn't want to lie to her. And then I got scared and panicked.
What he just said?
He did report to me at one time that had happened, but I took a urine screen and there was no positive alcohol.
Okay.
No, you told me it was positive. You told me that day.
Okay. So when was that?
That was like 3 months ago.
Okay. When did you break your leg?
Like probably 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
Okay. So if you went and had a margarita by accident and immediately told Kaylee about it, then why did you bring in somebody else's urine to try to pass that off as your own in this situation instead of being honest with her?
Yep. Well, she had told me if I ever tested dirty again, she was going to put me in jail. The day that I had to go in to see her, I was supposed to meet with a gentleman for a new job, and that afternoon, and I just panicked and didn't know what else to do.
A new job where?
It was at United Metal Products in Eastlake. The job I have now, I have to drive to the west side of Cleveland, and this job was very close.
How long you had that job on the west side?
A year and a half.
Okay.
I've never been unemployed in my whole life, Your Honor. I've always worked.
All right, so what you're telling me makes no sense to me.
Okay.
The whole, I called Eric after 4 or 5 years because he owed me money and I wanted the money now. My guess is you called Eric because you wanted some drugs.
No, I didn't. I didn't know that he was in. I didn't even know that was something he was into. I didn't know that his detail shop.
Then why did you refer to him as a real piece of crap at the beginning?
Well, because after this, I mean, he came over. I thought he was going to finally pay me the money. He told me that his daughter's mother had died and gave me some sob story and all this. And, you know, and I believed him and let it ride for a long time, you know, because, I mean, I had a lot of other things going on in my life, and I wasn't able to get a hold of him. And then when he came over and did that, he's like, hey, man, I got my life back together. He's like, you know, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm working with this guy. And then I found out that that's what he's doing, is dealing drugs. And I did not know that. He had a detail shop next to Action Detail, professional business, ran it for years, and I had no idea that any of this was going on. And then he came over and put drugs, he dropped them off in my car and said, this is all I can pay you right now. And I had the drugs, and I should have just thrown them away, but I did them, and that's where it ended.
And you're telling me you've been sober for 5 years?
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
And so how did you manage to stay, if that's true, how did you manage to stay sober for 5 years?
I have a great support group that's behind me. If you look, every time, the times I was arrested, I mean, they gave me a urine sample every time. I always tested clean, Your Honor. You know, this was something that happened that, you know, it just was like a perfect storm that came together. And I was honest with my family.
What were the clouds that resulted in the storm?
Just breaking my leg and
But you were working, right?
I couldn't work when I broke my leg.
Okay.
I couldn't work.
Well, you were going for a job interview that day, right? Or after you tested?
Yeah. That was just, you know, that was just me making a complete bonehead, stupid move and doing it. Was doing the drugs that he put in my car.
All right, so I know it was a stupid bonehead.
Yeah.
That's a given. Okay?
Yep.
But if you had been sober for 5 years, like you're telling me.
Well, my
hold on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Then you have the ability to resist the temptation of using drugs, right?
Yes.
Okay. And all of a sudden, this guy shows up after 4 or 5 years and puts some cocaine in your car, and you lose all your ability to resist at that point.
I didn't lose all of it. I made the conscious decision to do it. It wasn't, you know, nobody forced me to
So
do
the question is, why did you make the conscious decision to use it?
I just was not thinking clearly, and just, you know, like I said.
Right. Didn't you, your history of your criminal offenses suggests that you don't think clearly, okay? Because, hold on, because you've got, this case is a violation of a protection order, right?
Yeah.
And that was in, two of them actually, September of 23 and March of 24. In March of 23, you have another violating a protection order. 2 of them, 3 days apart in March of 23. You've got a resisting arrest and obstructing official business in November of 21. You've got a domestic violence and going back to 07. So you've got a history of making bad decisions, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, one of your terms of your probation is you did the decision points program. Did you complete that?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Okay. So when you were faced with the decision and you made the conscious decision to take the cocaine, that decision point program didn't do you any good.
It did, Your Honor. Like I said, I just had some things that it all came down on me that were, and it was a bad decision. You know, it was a bad decision.
Right.
I had a decision, and I made the bad decision.
Why did you make a bad decision?
I made the bad decision just because, like I said, I had a lot of things that were just giving me a hard time, and I did work through them. I really did, and that's where I got into having the job interview and things. It looked like, finally I got back on my feet and stuff, and and then it was, that's why I made the bad decision to not go in and be honest with Kaylee and to use somebody else's urine, was because, I was like, God, I'm so close to getting this turned around and, getting out of this rut I was stuck in, and now I'm testing positive for cocaine, and I have this great job opportunity, and, I really need a chance here.
Oh, what?
Really needed a chance here, at this job. It was a really great opportunity, and I still have it. If the woman that lives with me, she has lung cancer, and she just went into the hospital yesterday. And there's nobody there to take care of our 2 dogs now.
I mean, how can you take care of her if you're getting high?
It happened a couple times. I wasn't doing it all the time, Ron. I wasn't. I'm being completely honest with you. I screwed up a few times, and I was honest with my family.
When were the other times?
It was the time that he came over.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Besides September 6th or September 9th, when were the other times you used?
When he came over that other time, that was one other time I did it.
What other time?
When the Eric guy came over to my house the first time.
When was the first time?
I don't know the exact date, Your Honor.
Okay. How was it, before September 9th or after September 9th?
It was before September 9th.
Okay. How many days before September?
Oh, it was like probably a couple months before that.
Why was he over your house now a second time?
That was the first time he came over I asked him to bring me the money that he owed me.
Okay, he didn't bring you the money.
He didn't bring me the money.
And then you asked him to come over again.
I didn't ask him to come over again.
Huh?
I did not ask him to come over again.
He just showed up on September 9th?
He just showed up, and I didn't even know he was there. I went out to my car, and it was in the front seat of my car.
You didn't know he was there?
I did not know he was there.
How do you know he left it there?
Because he left a note with it.
What did he say?
Just said, I can't pay you the money right now. This is the best I can do.
Did you show that to Kaylee?
I did not.
Okay. I'm having a hard time believing that.
I'm not lying to you, Your Honor. I'm really not. This is what happened, and I told my family. They know everything. I told them. I said, hey, I screwed up. My family knows, that I struggled a few times in the past, and I had been doing great, Your Honor. I had, until I broke my leg and some things happened. And I really can do this. I really can.
No, you can't. You can't.
I can't.
Okay, but you are. How many other times did you see this Eric?
That was it, Your Honor.
Just those 2 times?
That was it.
Okay. I mean, earlier in this conversation, it was only 1 time.
Well, no, it was only 1 time I seen him. He came to my house once, and then I said he stopped over. That's where the drugs came from, from the dirty urine.
How much did he owe you?
He owed me like $2,500 and some change.
So what was the value of the cocaine that he left in your car?
I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I don't know, it was a round thing like that big. And like I said, he had owned a really good, reputable detail shop, and after this sort of started happening.
Very reputable if he
damaged
your customer's car and then didn't pay for it,
well,
right?
and I understand, that's what I'm saying. It went downhill, and I did not know all this since I had closed my shop and went to work for Carvana and stuff. I didn't know that all these things had happened with him. I really didn't. He wasn't like, the only reason that we knew each other was because his detail shop was very close to my body shop.
Where did you do your mental health evaluation?
At Signature Health.
And what did they recommend after you had it?
They didn't recommend anything, just to continue with, my meetings and stuff that I was going to.
How many meetings were you going to?
3 to 4 a week.
How many are you required to go to?
None. Dave Herman is my sponsor. He's been sober for 45 years.
Kaylee, how long has he been in jail on this?
For 24 days, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, see, I don't believe what you're telling me in this whole thing.
And everybody told me not to lie to you, Your Honor, and I'm not, and I really am not.
Okay. Well, I don't believe it. I don't believe that Eric shows up out of the blue after 4 or 5 years.
Well, he didn't
Doesn't give you the money when you call him, and then just shows up and leaves a bag of cocaine. Okay? Because you don't, see, you've destroyed your credibility because you tell me that you drank a margarita and reported it to Kaylee and she tested you, and you said it was positive for alcohol. Kaylee says it was not positive for alcohol, okay? And then, if that were true, then you would have come in and told Kaylee the truth about the cocaine and the circumstances of the cocaine, but you brought somebody else's urine in.
The reason that I didn't come to Kaylee, like I said, was because I had the job opportunity that day, and I panicked, Your Honor. I did. I panicked.
Okay.
And
You've been around long enough to know what's what, right?
Excuse me, Your Honor?
I said you've been around the block enough times to know what's what.
I do, Your Honor. I do, and honesty is the best policy, and I am trying, and it is, and I should have been honest with Kaylee. I should have been. To tell you the truth, I mean.
That's kind of showing a lot of disrespect to her.
It is,
assuming she's too stupid to realize that you were bringing in somebody else's pee.
I know, and I apologize, Kaylee.
Mr. Deeb?
I think the difference between the reporting is one was an accident that was something he didn't control, the other one was something he consciously did. But I think this
But the problem is Kaylee says that she tested it, it didn't show alcohol.
He expected it to be
alcohol.
He expected it to be positive.
She said it was. When she came back after she tested it, she definitely tested positive for alcohol.
Given the situation where he was in life and things were going down.
She just told me that it didn't test positive for alcohol.
You told me, Kaylee, you came back and said you definitely.
All right, go ahead, Tim.
I'm sorry.
Given everything that was transpiring in his life, I think there were a lot of contributing factors that in all likelihood wouldn't happen again. And I think he just needs to get back to his meetings and maintain his sobriety. Obviously, the people, places, and things, a person came back into his life. Those are things he needs to avoid.
Well, all these things that came together, all I've heard about was these dark clouds was he broke his leg. That's the only thing I heard. I don't know what else came together.
It's a domino effect of not being able to work, not having money, becoming reliant on other people for simple tasks.
Okay. So when you saw the cocaine in your car, if that's how it occurred, why didn't you call Dave Herman and say, look, I got a problem here. I want to use this.
You're right.
I'm not supposed to use it.
It's exactly what I should have done, Your Honor.
Right.
And I didn't. And I made that mistake, and I did call him after. I said, Dave was screwed up, and he said, let's get back on track, Brett. And he's like, and I'm not, I don't believe, screwing up all the time is part of things. I need to stay on track, but I had just really gotten my life back on track, and I worked really hard to get this job. The job that I have now is a great job, and I still have it, but
Your Honor, one more thing. His father's what that reached out to me and retained me to represent him on this probation violation. And when I originally represented him, they were at wit's end with Brett. He goes by Brett William here. But he had said he's been doing really well, and Brett did come forward to them, so they knew what was going on and they were helping him. So that was something that was unusual. I would think Brett was surprised that I came to see him.
All right, I've reviewed the record again, including the pre-sentence report. And I'm going to continue you on community control. You're going to serve 60 days in jail with credit for 24. And all the other terms that I ordered back in November of 24 that have not yet been completed remain in effect. So that's the penalty, 60 days in jail. I'm not going to send you to NeoCat because it seems like you're not, you tell me you completed decision points, which was the point of not sending you a NeoCap in the first place, and it didn't work. But look, if you want, you got 4 more years of probation with me, okay? If you want to continue to screw around, then you're going to continue to screw around. But
I won't, Your Honor.
the next step in the process is not NeoCap. The next step in the process is prison for the remainder of whatever's left of those 12 months, okay? Because if what you're telling me is true, all right, you know what to do, you knew it was wrong before you did it, but you did it anyway. That tells me if you come back here again, you're not interested in doing this stuff. So the only other avenue is to send you to prison for 12 months. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Warren?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Deeb?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right.